We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and I'm excited to welcome first to my co-host, Sherry from Storehouse Media Group. Sherry, how are you? I know you're excited about our guest.
I am. I am. I find him so fascinating, and I can't wait to talk with him.
Our guest today is Sid Abruzzi. He has a new movie coming. He's a legendary surfer, a skateboarder. You ran into so many different people. You're promoting Water Brother, the Sid Abruzzi story. How are you,
Yes,
Sid? Thanks
sir.
for stopping by, man.
Absolutely. It's a full honor to be on the show. That's for sure.
Oh, I appreciate it. So let's kind of talk about why did you want to tell your story? Why did you want it finally to come out as a documentary?
Well, the directors of the family I grew up surfing with their dad, and all the boys, they live in a town called Little Compton. It's about 20 minutes or a half an hour from Newport. They became avid surfers. They stopped at Water Brothers. I sold the director his first surfboard, Chuck, and they started becoming major filmmakers. And then on the other hand, on our end of the spectrum, we've always had the Super 8 cameras in the 70s, the high 8s in the 80s. So we were documenting a lot of our footage, and it just came to be. And we combined 5 decades of film to make this documentary.
Well,
Wow.
you are known as the godfather of Rhode Island surfing, which is quite a title. And I was watching the trailer of your movie about them tearing down your shop. It was March 19th, right? It was just recently.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a very long time. I started surfing and skateboarding in the early 60s, and we developed the shop in 1971. I started selling surfboards when I was 17 years old. And to this day, we're still doing what we do, loving what we love.
What do you think makes surfing such a popular sport, Sid?
I think it's the freedom of once you're out there in the water, there's a cliche that all your problems go away and everything like that. You don't think about work or anything stressful in your life, and that's true. It's just a really great feeling you get surfing, and then once you get fairly good at surfing, you can sort of just surf the way you like to surf. If you like to surf on a longer board, or you like to sort of carve and rip it up, it's unlimited. It's almost like the feeling a good skier or snowboarder gets. It's the same thing. Once you're on the board, whether it's surfing, skating, snowboarding, or skiing, you can design the line. You understand? It's your freedom to carve it.
Well, in your movie's description, and by the way, it was so moving. I mean, it just brought you to tears. Them tearing down that iconic surf shop. But it had said in there that you wanted to protect the culture and the history of the sports. What about it do you think needs protecting?
What's that, ma'am?
What about the history and the culture of the sports? I guess surfing and skateboarding, did you feel you need to protect?
Well, it started out in the surfing at certain spots. We surfed against the historic cliffs of Newport, Rhode Island, was against the law. So we had to go to court and fight that. Skateboarding has always been an uphill battle for the kids skating around the streets and stuff like that. So we had to adapt by building skate parks or getting the city to do skate parks. So it's, surfing and skating at one time was sort of an endangered species, you might say. And, we had to stand up for what we believed in. We legalized a bunch of surf spots in Newport, Rhode Island, and we helped create skate environments for the kids skateboarding, whether through a private or public parks. And those are always worth protecting.
Did you think that skateboarding would grow that large back in the day? That would be this popular?
You know what? You're so right. I never did. skateboarding has always been a roller coaster. Um, when we started out skateboarding, it was sort of like called sidewalk surfing, and it was just surfers that skated on the coast. And what they would do is act like they were surfing on the street. And then as skateboarding progressed, the urethane wheel came out. So many cool things happened in skateboarding that it took off in the inner cities and took off across the country. And it is huge, huge, international. I mean, I would never think surfing and skating would be in the Olympics.
Wow.
Mm. But you also created Surf Fest, right? And
Yes.
just another, yeah. And you were inducted into the East Coast Surfing Hall of Fame, which I thought was pretty interesting as well. Like you really made an impact in the surfing community. And so when they came to tear down your store, did they give you a whole lot of warning? Or I mean, I'm sure it took the breath away.
Well,
Took my breath
to
away.
be honest with you, we were operating there without a lease. So we had 45 days to
Wow.
evacuate the premises. Without a lease, commercial residents have 45 days to leave the building.
And to wrap your head around what's going on too.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, that was it. And any emotional. So with your movie, what kind of impact do you want it to have on the community and on the sport?
Well, for the Newport community, we show a lot of footage, like I said, over the last 40 or 50 years in our area. And this town has changed so much, just like a lot of communities on the coast and stuff like that, where the residents, the kids that grew up in this town, can't afford to live in this town anymore. And our movie shows a lot of the way it used to be and the way we hope it maybe could ever come back to be. And that's important to me, to show a lot of the history of Newport. Before it became this millionaire resort town. I mean, every house on this island sells for almost $1 million these days. And to grow up here and not have your family home, it's almost impossible to live here. And I think that goes, that resonates across the documentary, along with the freedom of surfing and skating.
Now, Sid, you talking about the documentary. I'm sure when you first said I'm going to sign up for this, you didn't know exactly how it would be, right? I mean,
Exactly.
the whole process. I'm going through my documentary right now. I've shot step one into the 3 steps to my documentary. I'm a former professional wrestler who's making a comeback
Awesome.
at 51. I wrestled with The Rock back in the 90s independently before The Rock.
Did you have a wrestling name?
Yeah, Big Neil, the Real Deal, Giant Warrior, Leviathan. But I'm going to go back as now call
I
myself.
love it.
I'm the media giant now, so I have an agency.
I love it.
Media giant. So basically, when going through that process of shooting just the first part, remember like having to answer questions of what you went through, your blood, sweat, and tears as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
How you went through all those different things. It's really, I think, 2 things. One, it makes you, it's great to reminisce, but also it's painful because it was not all
No, I mean,
beautiful. You know what I mean? And that's the hard part. It was like we're the energy we had to give in shooting a documentary. People don't understand, especially because you have to go back to a lot of trauma that potentially happened in your life.
absolutely. I mean, it shows the ups and downs. I mean, there's no denying we were, surfers and skaters are notorious for being at times heavy drinkers and heavy partiers. And we had to relive that whole episode. I've been sober now for 12 years.
Right.
And my family, went through a lot making this video. Just an awful lot. And then we had COVID come in the middle of our shooting. So it's like you said, it's an emotional roller coaster.
how long did it take for you with COVID and everything involved? How long did it take to film that documentary?
I would say a solid 5 to 7 years, and
My goodness.
probably 10 years in concept or
Wow.
longer.
So that's the people. Maybe that's going to take me that long. You know, I'm going to try to get back in the ring by the time.
You know,
By
let
the
me
time
just
you
say
raise
this,
the funds,
speaking
because
on
go ahead.
speaking on your documentary, like you say, oh man, is it going to take that long? Well, it might, you know, and it just time keeps going on and it might, but at the end, I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, because you could shoot it, but then it's the whole fundraising to make it the best thing to come out in
Right.
theaters. This is the other part. Yeah, so we could go shoot a documentary with an iPhone, God forbid, right? But we wouldn't
Right.
have the quality that a great filmmaker would bring to the table. A great filmmaker makes stories come alive.
Right. Well, that's what we're so blessed by a friend of ours, a friend of mine, and a friend of everybody in this island by the name of Jerry Kirby. We started out with a pretty intense budget, and we were really going nowhere with it. We had a cost of getting all the 50 years of old footage transferred, and we were at a standstill. We were stuck in quicksand. Like you said, getting funding for documentaries is hard because people say, well, documentaries make no money. And Jerry Kirby came up and said to us, let's bootstrap this operation. And the boys, the Caneen brothers, the film company, was ready to do that. And my family was ready to ride whatever it took, the ride. And we went 5,000 here, 10,000 here, 20,000 here. Movie rights, song rights, 50 grand, whatever it was. We bootstrapped it and we finished it.
And see what, and then I'm going to go back to Sherry right after this question I asked you but people understand that you are talking about two of the most biggest fan bases out there that don't have lots of things about skateboarding or surfing out there as documentaries. So you bring something different to the table, especially when content is not out there as much anymore. So this is a great opportunity for you right now. We're releasing this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And one thing about this movie, it's raw guts out there. It shows the real picture, and there's no fluff in this movie at all.
Well, you know, it took a long time for you to make this documentary. There had to be a lot of dedication, commitment, passion involved. When viewers come and watch it and they start walking out of the theater after it's done, what message do you want them to have from your documentary?
You know, everyone that has seen this movie over the premiere weekend has had a lot of emotion from it. A lot of emotion, a lot of tears, a lot of laughing. It expresses a lot of sentiment. We've had one viewer said it had more emotion than Lion King. So I would just hope everyone enjoys it, learn something of it. You know, there's a part of it where there's a lot of drinking and alcohol, and we've got through that and prospered after that, and live better lives after that, and we're blessed after that, and so that's important.
All right. Well, Sid, where's the best place people can check out the documentary?
We're currently a couple shows left in Rhode Island. We're going to be in New Jersey. Well, first of all, we're going to be at the Angelica Theater in New York City, July 26th to August 1st, every night, 7 nights. We're going to be at the House of Independence in New Jersey, August 8th. We'll be back in Rhode Island the 9th. We'll be headline film at the Florida Surf Film Festival, August 17th. We'll be up in Nantucket the 21st, and then reach out. We're ready to go anywhere. We plan to be on the West Coast September, October. We love to be in Hawaii in January, and then we're getting some inquiries through Europe. But as far as the United States goes, reach out to the crew, and we're ready to pack them up and roll them.
Wow, so that's why you had to wait so many years. So much promotion.
Right, exactly.
All right, Sid. Best place people can find information on the film. Where can they go?
I believe it's waterbrotherfilm.com.
All right. Thanks again, Sid. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Okay,
Sid.
guys, really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
All right.
It's an honor to be on your show.
Oh, thank you. You're listening and watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.